first became interested in seed libraries after volunteering on a farm in Hawaii, although I didn't quite understand what a seed library was at that time. As I harvested fresh vegetables that would be shared with the food co-op later that day, I thought about how produce can vastly change depending on the climate and geographical location, as well as the history behind that specific area. Seed libraries have the capability of uniting communities, preserving history, supporting local farmers, all while fighting climate change and food insecurity. Seed libraries allow communities to celebrate cultural differences and share stories. I realized that it makes sense for these seed libraries to physically rest in the hands of librarians who are committed to supporting their community by sharing stories, resources, and valuable information. There are many reasons why a library or community member might decide to start a seed library, ranging from preserving history and seeds, promoting gardening and access to healthy food, or to celebrate cultures within their community. Usually, whatever the original intention, a seed library ultimately covers all of these bases. According to a study done at Georgetown University, seed libraries focus on bringing plants into circulation and highlighting local crops while fighting food insecurity within communities. They also tend to utilize smaller seed species that are generally local to a specific climate, region, or community and could potentially be lost in the grand scheme of breeding efforts if not saved by these small seed libraries. Local seeds will always play a huge role in the community because of the inextricably linked stories that have been passed down for generations, usually by those who originally cultivated them. Studies like the one highlighted on sapiens.org show that scientists and researchers are using plant genetics to trace human migrations back. There are even incredible stories of women who hid ancient African rice in their hair as they were forced aboard slave ships. These stories need to be preserved and shared. While many seed libraries start with the sole intention of preserving seeds or biodiversity, it's hard to deny that agriculture and stories are linked. One person that realized this was a man who volunteers his time in Palestinian classrooms and encouraged students to get testimonials from their elders about experiences with seeds. A student came back with a story about a now elderly relative who had been exiled to Kuwait, but before she left, she made sure to take with her seeds of an orange tree, which she then planted there. It really makes you think about how seeds travel and what the specific story is behind them. While many food libraries begin with the concept of preserving specific seeds or biodiversity, many times they evolve into something totally different. This could cover preservation of cultures, nurturing cultural restoration, cultivating intercultural reconciliation, and celebrating the resilience of seeds and people, as seen with the Mohawk community in New York. One of my favorite stories I read while researching this topic was from a woman named Peg, who talked about her father's passion for growing beans. They were the largest, hardiest beans that he would then share with his neighbor Flossie, who was reputed to make the best baked beans in all of New York's Hudson Valley. Every season, Hank would always set aside beans from the crop to plant them for the next year. While we become more detached from our food and where it comes from, the number of people that need to be fed increases. It's estimated that we have already lost 93% of the world's seed varieties. An example of this is corn. At the turn of the 20th century, there were 307 varieties of corn, compared to the 12 varieties that we have now. As we rush to feed more people, traditional farming methods fall through the wayside. This is a pity because those traditional farming methods help preserve seed diversity. With larger corporations at the helm, more industrialized methods are used to feed mass amounts of people quickly, including monoculture farming, as well as using genetically modified seeds. Each town around the world has a unique climate. Seed libraries can bring plants into circulation, into those towns, whether it be local varieties or even potentially new strains. Seed libraries might seem small on a global scale, but it's these small-scale operations that continue to raise awareness. According to Modern Farmer, genetic diversity holds the key to adaptability and resilience in agriculture. Trading natural, non-genetically modified seeds might not seem like it would change the world, but it can raise awareness among mindful gardeners and community members of the high-stakes seed battles being fought on the world's farms. Traditional libraries, as well as the seed libraries within them, are currently facing open source policy issues, especially with the mass digitization of resources. Unfortunately, the policies seem to vary from state to state and even shift up to the federal level, while libraries generally concede that information should be available for everyone. Libraries hosting seed libraries should be educated on their own personal local and federal laws to ensure that certain patented seeds are not accepted or distributed without permission. However, many states have gone on to indicate that seed libraries fall in a gray area and are exempt from certain laws. Seed libraries provide endless program and collaboration opportunities for local libraries. One of the major ways that seed libraries can assist the communities are by reducing food deserts. Food deserts are described as an area within a community where members must travel over 1 mile to the nearest supermarket. Studies show that where there are seed libraries, there tend to be way more community gardens, which can cut down on food deserts that have such a huge impact on people who might not have the means for reliable transportation. Another issue that people within communities face are limited access to healthy food. Community gardens can also diminish this problem. Seed libraries make it more affordable for communities and farms to grow their own healthy foods. One initiative, the Blue Ridge Women in Agriculture, actually hosts a program called Double Up on Food Bucks and will match up to $20 per market day for anyone who's using any form of food assistance. It makes sense that many seed libraries are physically stored within a brick-and-mortar library. This is because both promote community enrichment, information sharing, and literacy, whether related to words or botany, as described in the study from Georgetown University. Here are some steps to starting your own seed library in no particular order. Start small. This does not need to be a fully orchestrated program yet. Some seed libraries have started as simple Tupperwares that are stored underneath their library stairs. Think about your advertising and programming. How will you create a buzz and increase awareness? This could be done through relevant programs, garden and landscaping tutorials, partnering with seed libraries, and school gardens. Set the intention for your seed garden, whether this is diminishing food insecurity or saving seeds. It's helpful to have something to explain to people about why this library is so important. Think about how you're going to organize your seeds, stories, and seed returns seasonally. Find a group of experienced volunteers and join Beat Up, the online community of seed librarians for support, guidance, and resources. Around the world, seed libraries function as defenders against climate change, preservers of biodiversity, collectors of stories and local knowledge, and providers of food. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation on seed libraries, and I hope that you are so excited to imagine a future full of seed libraries.